Alright, welcome back to the show, guys. No fancy intros today. I'll tell you what, it's not a fancy aircraft. But this thing has one thing going for it. It has a metric shit ton of power. Now, if you look at the, if you go to the X-ray and you look at the engine, the numbers don't quite line up with what I've researched. But I tell you what, don't look into the numbers too much because this thing has more than enough power. It's got 100 F6 power by far. It is a Rolls-Royce Avon engine. One thing we'll say is, like, take a look at the wings. You got fuel tanks in the wings. It's not a very durable plane. That's what I'm figuring out so far. I've taken damage. I've only died twice, but I've taken damage, and most of the times it kind of puts me out of the match. Sometimes I'm able to go back and land, but not the greatest when you want to take damage. So let's move on. Let's talk about some gameplay. So this was probably the second match I played. This is actually on Preparation H, or Preparations for Landing in Hokkaido, if you wanted to use the full name. But the thing about this map is it was very cloudy, and this thing has a radar, and the radar actually works. Now, it also has a gun lead indicator, but that doesn't really pop up till 500 meters. You'll see that here. But I see a dot. I'm going to use a radar to lock him up. So there he is. Inside 5 kilometers, radar locks him up, and now I know exactly what he's doing. I lead up. He doesn't see me coming at all. And get close. You can see the lead indicator pop up, but it's really not that good for me. I don't really need it anyways at that aspect. But we get one kill, snuck up in the clouds, and that is one advantage of having the radar on this aircraft. The other thing about this plane, like I said, it has absolute tons of power. And you're going to see real quick how I play this aircraft on a vertical. It doesn't turn that well. The missiles, honestly, they're kind of AIM-9B copies. They're nothing spectacular. They kind of work. I've gotten a few kills with them. Like I said, then again, this is one of my first couple matches, so I'm still kind of testing out the missiles, figuring out what their limits are. But we get kill 2 on an unsuspecting Sabre on the deck, and then we're just going to turn back towards the others. I hear a prop near me. I didn't even notice it was a prop. But next problem with this aircraft, though, is you see that at high speeds it actually compresses really hard, and the rudder is absolutely useless above 900 or so. So you have to be really careful, especially in head-ons if you're going fast. And that also plays into factor when you start getting into defensive flying. You'll see that here in a minute, because this aircraft, if you wanted to compare it to another one, honestly, it's kind of like a Swift F7 with probably twice the power. It has, like I said, an absolute ton of power. But, yeah, it doesn't maneuver that well, so you have to be really careful if you overshoot somebody. Here we got a guy high above us. He didn't really see me, or if he does, he might, I don't know. But he can't, even at this speed, he can't stall me out. But I have to be really careful about getting slow, because this thing, as you see, it's down to about 600, 500 kilometers an hour right now, and I can't stay inside this guy's turn. He thinks he's going to get away. I guess he's not really paying attention. I lob a bullet and get lucky. Now I have an F-86K on my butt. And this is where I start realizing the limitations of this plane. So the F-86K, it doesn't turn that well, but neither do I. It's pretty well matched between this plane and the F-86K, I'm going to be honest. But that one pulls off. We got another one behind me. He's going to lob off a missile at me. And you're going to see real quick, that's as hard as I can pull, and I barely cleared that missile. There's also a lot of server lag in this game, if you guys haven't noticed. It's actually been kind of painful. This day one experience is not necessarily a ton of fun. Getting a lot of server lag right now, so we'll definitely be coming back to this plane. But like I said, this is day one experience. So far, this plane has more than enough power to get you away from almost anything that you get yourself into. You can go straight up. Even against MiGs, MiG-17, MiG-15, as long as you have a little bit of power behind you, they ain't touching you. The F-86K has a ton of power. He ain't catching me. You can see how I'm easily pulling away from him. Overall, this plane is very, very good at staying alive, but it's actually very hard to get kills because of the compression. So it's going to be a hard plane to balance, because I'll tell you what, when you first get into this plane, you're probably going to be very passive. And if you're going against this plane, you're going to probably find a lot of players passive because it's hard to get kills. But you're not going to be able to catch them. Not unless you're in a supersonic. You know, maybe this thing will get up tiered into the 10-0 realm. If this thing goes to 9.3, I don't have a lot of hope for it, because it's not quite as maneuverable as the F-86K in terms of roll. The F-86K can at least handle its own. This thing, I don't know if it will be able to. So that leaves to be seen. We'll see for sure. You know, this map, though, like I said, I think this is a good example because we have 2 F-86Ks, and I'm having to fight them. Now, this is, what, my second match in this plane? And so I'm not really sure of the aircraft yet, so I'm just going to ignore this F-86K because, you know, I can. The one behind me, that is. Now, the one in front of me, we're going to try and get a shot on. But unfortunately, he dies, so now we've still got the one behind us. You see this kind of weird-looking, ugly air brake. And at one point in time, this might have actually been the match that I forgot to close it. Nope, this isn't it. All right, we're good. So, We try and pull him behind the other F-86K. He's been following me. He gives up the chase. Lob off a missile. Again, like I said, I don't really know what to do with these missiles yet. But look at this. The F-86K, he came in with a ton of speed. And now he's not going to get away. Pound for pound, this thing goes pretty well against the F-86K. And there's some more of that server lag for you. But he's not going to be able to get away. So, kind of tricky. I'm using this lead indicator. It honestly just screws me up. I'm not a big fan of it. I need to just disable it so it doesn't get in my way. For some of you, maybe it'll work. But just remember, the thing with the lead indicator is it's going to tell you what they did, not exactly what they're doing. So it can deceive you. Just something to keep in mind, guys. Anyways, that's the end of this match. I'm going to move on to another. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I had some issues. I don't know what exactly happened, but I lost the audio on some of these tracks. So that's why the last one's a little bit different. I actually used the replay to get my audio back. But this, I wanted to show you this clip real quick. So I'm going down. I'm doing 1120 now. A MiG-17. MiG-17 is perfectly capable of doing supersonic in a dive, so he's been sticking with me. I was diving down because I didn't really want to turn fight him. I know I can't. And I know if I try to stall fight him, it's not necessarily the greatest move, not in the condition that I was. But now I'm at my top speed, and now I'm just going to climb up. And this is a MiG-17. They do have a good amount of low-end power. Now, it also, at least for the longest period of time, it was the fastest 9.0. Not so much anymore, but it does like 11.10, 11.12, I think, on the deck. And that's really not that bad compared to me. But look at this. This is a MiG. And normally you wouldn't stall fight MiGs. But I have 100% control of this fight. Now, look at this. I'm kind of teasing him. I don't want to pull away too far. But eventually he gives up. There's just nothing that he can do. And look at this. I'm up at, what, almost 7K right now? 6.5? I still have plenty more to go. I could have gone all the way up to like 9K before I ever stalled. And now I'm just going to drop right back down on top of him. Now here comes the problem. Like I said, easy to stay alive in this plane, but hard to kill. So we're going to start compressing the more speed I get. And I don't really want to go slow, because if I get slow behind him, he's going to outmaneuver me, and eventually I'm going to lose to it. So he sees me coming up behind him, and he breaks off. And look at this. I can't turn at all with him. But he kind of makes a poor decision and turns back inside my guns, which, you know, that was kind of the death of him. We were able to get that kill. Move down to this other guy on the deck, and he is not paying attention. We are hauling some major balls right now, so a little more of that server lag, but we finish off. That was the end of that match. I just wanted to show you that, though, guys, because the MiG-17, you know, MiGs, you generally don't stall fight them, but as long as you have the speed behind you, you can do it in this plane. You really can. So let's move on one more. This time we're on Korea. I got a little bit more aggressive in this match because I realized that, you know, I need to figure out the limits to this plane, and unfortunately, it's very limited. So you'll see towards the end of the map that I really needed to start knocking people down, because there was just too many of them. And our team wasn't doing a very good job of doing it right off the bat. So, anywho, you see really quick that I'm at 4K. I'm doing 0.91. I'm substantially faster and higher than anything. But these guys actually climbed. And I don't know if they planned it out, if they knew they were going to be facing a J-32. But so as you see, they're all up here at a pretty good distance, and at the same time, so this thing just, it doesn't maneuver very well. It doesn't, but it has a ton of power, so I could sit here, I could stay alive all day, but actually getting the kills, again, is very, very hard to do. So we got a G91. It's not really, didn't really expect me to turn for him, I don't think, but here it is. Now line the shots, and the guns, I tell you what, the guns feel a little wonky on this plane, and I can't figure out what it is. And now it's not the guns themselves, but it's the aiming. I'm using my typical 500 meters, no vertical, and I don't know from what the hell's that? Is that something new? Is there a new bot on these maps? Anyways, so 2 MiG-15s and 1 MiG-17 high. This is a very difficult matchup. Now, that guy lobs a couple bullets. I try to get a last-second head on. The rest of these guys, I'm just going to dodge. And I know, because I'm very powerful, that I can just go up. There's nothing these guys can do to touch me. But they don't turn for me. I got a G91 in the distance, so I'm not worried about the MiGs right now. The fact that these MiGs started diving down actually was really a godsend for me. It was very helpful, because I would have been up here fighting them all night and maybe not even getting a kill, maybe getting killed myself. G91 gets a little bit of damage on me, 50 cals, go figure. But it's really not enough to do anything, thankfully. So it didn't slow me down this match. But the G91, not much you can do. The F-86A5 definitely shouldn't be up here. So I'm at a safe altitude. I can start making another pass. I got the 86A5 below me. I'm going to go ahead and try and get him out. Again, even though 50 cals suck, that's a very, very good maneuverable plane. Not really want to leave that one. So we try and get him out, but at the same time, looks like the G91's turning back in my direction, so I don't want to give him my butt. So instead, I turn towards him, pop another bullet off, and nothing. Again, guys, like I said, I had to record the replay, so some of the sounds aren't lining up. I apologize. It's fixed now, so future recording should be better. G91's starting to dive out. I know he can't maintain energy, so there's really not much he can do against me at this altitude. Looking around, looks like everybody is pretty much dove to the deck, which, thankfully, that's the best situation for me because this thing, like I said, just doesn't maneuver. So I don't want to be up here fighting him. Even though I can, I don't because it's very, very painful. So my squad mate here, Ice Cold Pepsi, he needs a little help. He's got a G91 and it looks like a MiG-17 on him. So we're going to try and get one of them. MiG-17 kind of pulls off. G91's getting into my guns, and there it is again. The guns are a little wonky, and 9 times out of 10, I find myself shooting just a little bit high. Lob a missile at the MiG-17. Just enough turn, I guess, that the missile didn't want to track him. I figured he's going to pull into my guns, then he kind of pulls straight in front of me. I was like, well, you know what? If you're going to give me a free missile, go for it. So he is gone. It might have been an invisible missile. I don't know. You can never tell these days. I'm not going to sit there and talk shit about anybody that gets popped by a missile because it's happened to me. These invisible missiles, they still exist in this game. I have an entire channel on my Discord dedicated to this. If you guys have any invisible missiles, feel free to join my Discord and pump them in there because I do have a community, or should I say a technical moderator for Gaijin watching over that stuff for me. He's taking every bit of information that you guys can give. So anyways, moving on. MiG-17's out. Now we got a bunch of guys that are turning, which is a very good situation for me because I can stay fast very easily. So we're going to try and get some kills. MiG-15 pulls in front of me. We're going to lob the missile. See what happens. It kind of dodges off a little early. G91 in a head-on. MiG-15's going vertical. I'd love to get him, but I can't because this thing just doesn't turn. The G91 again pulling towards me, a little high. I'm not going to be able to make that shot because we are hauling balls, and guess what? We compress. The Super Mysterious in the distance. It's going to be the same story. That's a very squirrely bird, so we don't want to get slow with him. It's a very, very simple plane to play, guys. And if you're thinking about grinding out the Swedish tree to get this plane, you might want to consider flying the J-29. I'll take the J-29 over this thing any day. But so I drop my throttle a little bit. I air brake, pull in behind this Super Mystery real quick because I know I need to get aggressive. Try and pop a couple bullets. A little off for me, but he's really not dodging. And I'm going to say, all right, here's another missile for you. Bye-bye. So now we got the Super Mystery out of the game. We got G91s for the most part, which don't maintain energy very well. So I can kind of get aggressive with G91s and get away with it. A5 is a very similar situation. Try and pop a head on at him and miss the shot. I'll be honest, I haven't gotten a single freaking head on in this plane yet. It could be me. I haven't played this game in like 3 weeks. It was nice to take a little time off. But so we're just gonna go up. Up is the way. Nothing's gonna touch me. MiG-15 actually, he probably could, but he's really not. He's not interested in me. He's interested in the guys on the deck. So we went up. We're gonna come back down again. I know that when I get down and I get too fast, that we're gonna compress. As long as things are a little busy, we'll stick with it. We missed that shot. I was kind of hoping he would go vertical, and I wanted to see what happened if I get into a vertical scissors with a MiG. But smart enough, he pulls off and goes back down. G91 on the deck. MiG-15's going for ice cold. I want to try and get this MiG-15 out of the match. He's honestly the bigger threat to me. A5 is a bigger threat to everybody else. So we're diving in, we make a pass. The A5 is pulling into my gun, so I figured why not? We'll try and take a shot. We miss him. I don't want to get in front of him though, because I'm hauling balls. We'll try and pull up on the MiG again. Definitely not turning. So now I'm realizing that I can't kill anything. I can't, not at these speeds. So it's time to get a little bit more aggressive. We try to stay out of our compression zone, so I drop the throttle on the dive. I try to stay below 900 kilometers an hour. That's my goal. I know I can power away from these guys. So doing about 800 right now. A little bit more comfortable speed. A5 is pulling in front of me. doesn't see me coming, get him out of the match. MiG-15's going up. We're going to go up with him. That'll keep me safe from the other G91. Of course, he's going to keep turning. You know, he's definitely doing a good job in the MiG. I'm not going to sit here and knock on him one little bit, because that is exactly how you should play the MiG. Go up every time. Misses his shot with ice cold Pepsi. We're going to pull him behind him, because I definitely want him out of the match. And he's pulling vertical again, and there's nothing I can do. Thankfully, the Hunter gets a hold of him and gets a missile on him. The G91 R3 is out, and that is match. Now, not a lot of kills, but this really demonstrates just how lackluster this plane is. Tons of power does not make it a good plane. Tons of power just makes it kind of an annoying plane to fight. So this is all I gotta say for this plane, guys. Let me know what you think. It's not gonna be my favorite plane. I don't recommend grinding for it. I'd take the Hunter, I'd take the Swift, I'd take a few other planes over this one, but not this one. Alright guys, you have a good one. We'll see you around.